So hi there students, welcome back to another video lesson. So we are now on the fourth quarter of our video lesson for grade 9 mathematics. So sa fourth quarter po, ang pag-uusapan natin is another branch of mathematics which is trigonometry. So some of you have ideas about trigonometry, some do not have any ideas. So para mas ma-enlighten kayo, so ipe-present po natin yung ating mga video lesson. So I hope makatulong po ito sa inyo. So we have there the mnemonic SOHCAHTOA. So yung mga naunang batch sa inyo, grade 9 students, they are very much familiar with SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so kasi kapag trigonometry ang topic natin, usually nga fourth quarter siya, so kadalasan po nating naririnig yung SOHCAHTOA na yan. So to start our video lesson, let us have our lesson objectives. First, we will define trigonometry. So bago nating illustrate yung 6 trigonometric ratios na sinabi ko kanina, we must first define what is trigonometry. So what branch of mathematics is trigonometry? So what do we study about trigonometry? So second one, after that, we will illustrate the 6 trigonometric ratios. And then, we will use Pythagorean theorem to solve for the missing sides of a right triangle. So usually kapag may mga missing parts tayo sa isang right triangle, ito ang kadalasan talaga commonly na ginagamit para makuha yung mga missing sides na yun. Yung tinatawag nating Pythagorean theorem. So mamaya, makikita nyo po yung application ng Pythagorean theorem kapag sinolve na natin yung mga missing sides ng right triangle. Now, let us discuss what is trigonometry. So ano nga ba ang trigonometry? Ano ang pinag-aaralan sa branch ng mathematics na yan? So, trigonometry was derived from the two Greek words trigonon means triangle, and metron o metria sa ibang mga reference means measure. So, ibig sabihin, yung trigonometry, it has something to do with triangle measurement. So, dun pa lang po kasi sa kanyang prefix, tri, ayan, meron na kayong clue kung anong meron sa trigonometry. Okay, so, triangle is a three-sided polygon. Okay. So, kung dyan po na-derive yung mga words, yung trigonometry using the Greek words, trigonon and metron, so what about the definition of trigonometry? So, it is a branch of mathematics that deals with the relationships of the lengths of sides and angles of triangles. Okay, so we have there the word relationships. So, syempre, tinitignan natin dito kung may relasyon ba. So, hindi naman yung literal na relasyon na mag-girlfriend-boyfriend sila. Okay, so, usually kasi, kapag mga polygons kasi ang pinag-aaralan natin, usually naririnig talaga natin yung sides and angles. Okay, so, titignan natin kung ano yung mga relationships ng sides and angles kapag pinag-aaralan natin ay trigonometry. So, yan po ang definition ng trigonometry. So, for better understanding, para hindi tayo malito kung anong meron sa trigonometry, just keep in mind na we're talking about triangles kapag trigonometry. So, let us consider the right triangle. So, mag-i-start na po tayo sa ating lesson. So, consider the right triangle ABC. Angle C is the right angle in line segment AB, line segment AC, and line segment BC are the sides. Okay, so pakita po natin yung ating illustration. So, as you can see on the illustration, it is an example of a right triangle. So, when can we say that a triangle, a given triangle, is a right triangle? Basically, meron po siyang right angle. So, there is only one right angle in a right triangle. And then the other two are just acute angles. So, based on the given statement, angle C is the right angle. So, ito po yung ating angle C, wherein denoted siya, ayan. Meron tayong makikitang symbol na nagde-denote na right angle yon. So, which is angle C. And then, what about the sides of a triangle? So, if you will be asking me, so, ilan po ba ang sides ng triangle? Basically, nung elementary pa lang, they have discussed that a triangle has 3 sides. That is why, yung mga sides na nakagiven dyan, tatlo, AB, AC, and BC. So, where is AB? So, AB po, ayan, ito siya. And then, AC, ito naman siya. And then, BC, ito siya. Okay. So, let's say, angle B is an acute angle. So, marked angle represented by theta. Okay, so sa trigonometry kasi, sa mga triangles, usually, nakikita natin yung theta na yan. So, ayan po, yung kanyang symbol. Yung 0, and then parang may hati sa gitna. Okay, so angle B is an acute angle. So, angle C is a right angle, therefore, angle B and A are acute angles. Kaya lang dito yung angle A natin, hindi siya nakamark ng theta. Yung nakamark lang is angle B. So, kapag ganon, we can say that AC is the opposite side. Okay. So, di ba ito yung ating acute angle, which is B. Nandito yung mark angle na theta. So, yung opposite na side nun, nung angle B, is what we call the opposite side. So, ito siya. Ito siya mismo. Ayan, ito po. AC. Ayan. Next, BC naman as the adjacent side or is the adjacent side. Okay, so nasaan ang adjacent side? Okay, so ito po siya. Nasa ibaba. So, yung adjacent side usually kadikit mismo. Okay, nung ating angle na nakamark, yung theta. And then, considered as the longest side of any right triangle is what we call the hypotenuse. So, paano natin malolocate yung hypotenuse? Yun po yung opposite side ng ating right angle. So, yung right angle natin is C. That is why, yung opposite po niya, ito, which is AB, ang tinatawag nating hypotenuse. So, again, so AC, yung opposite side. Okay, so kung nasaan po yung ating theta, nandun po yung opposite side. Okay, so kung halimbawa, yung theta natin is nandito sa angle A, dito. So, nasaan ang opposite side niya? Is it AC? No. So, yung AC nun ang magiging adjacent side. And then, yung magiging opposite side nun is yung BC or CB, yung kabaligtaran niya mismo. Okay. So, I hope naging clear sa inyo yung opposite side, adjacent side, and hypotenuse. So, yung adjacent side tsaka opposite side, maaring magkabaligtad ng pwesto yan dahil nga dun sa mark angle, yung theta. Pero, yung hypotenuse, hindi kailanman mag-iiba ng posisyon. Basta tandaan nyo, pag hypotenuse, opposite siya no right angle. So, in a right triangle, we can define and illustrate the 6 trigonometric ratios. These ratios are the ratios of the sides of a right triangle. So, ano ang operations kapag naririnig natin yung ratio? That is division. Okay. So, ito yung ating triangle. So, yung triangle, right triangle na ginamit natin kanina, triangle ABC. So, ito yung ating mga trigonometric ratios. Okay. So, unang-una na dyan is yung tinatawag nating sine theta. Okay, and then abbreviated siya as SIN and then theta. So, yung theta dyan is yung angle. Okay. And then, paano natin makukuha yung sine theta? Okay, so based dito sa ating illustration, okay, so nandyan po yung theta dun sa angle B. Okay, so yung opposite ng angle B, yun po yung ating opposite side. So, ibig sabihin, yung opposite natin dito is AC. Okay, so pwede nating ilagay as dito na lang, AC. Over, yung hypotenuse naman is yung AB. Okay, so kapag sinabi nating sin theta, that is equivalent to opposite over hypotenuse. So kapag isosolve natin trigonometric ratio na sine, ganun lang, opposite over hypotenuse. And then, we also have cosine. So yung cosine naman, equivalent naman siya sa adjacent over hypotenuse. So nasaan yung adjacent, yung adjacent side? Okay, so ganun pa rin naman, magbe-base tayo syempre dun sa theta. Okay, so yung adjacent side niya is yung BC or CB. And then yung hypotenuse niya, ganun pa rin, AB. Okay. Next, tangent. Okay, so tan, T-A-N. So, tan theta is equivalent to opposite over adjacent. So, yung opposite natin is AB. Ito yung opposite natin. So, i-label natin opposite, the hypotenuse, and the adjacent. So, hindi po yan adjective, it's adjacent or adjacent. Okay, so, yung opposite side natin is AC over the adjacent side, which is BC. Okay, next. Ano naman yung cosecant, secant, and cotangent? So, yung tatlo na yan, yung tatlong huli, yan po yung reciprocals ng ating unang tatlong trigonometric ratios. Okay, so yung reciprocal po ng sin theta, okay, is what we call the cosecant theta. Okay, CSC theta. So, kung mapapansin nyo, yung sa sin theta natin, opposite over hypotenuse, doon naman sa cosecant theta, it is hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, so since reciprocal, kabaligtaran. Okay, so kung yung AC over AB sa sine, magiging AB over AC. Okay. So, next, yung reciprocal naman ng cosine theta is secant theta. Okay, as you can see, yung cosine natin is equivalent to adjacent over hypotenuse. Dito sa secant natin, it is hypotenuse over adjacent. So, dun sa cosine natin, it is BC over AB. So, dito naman po sa secant, it is AB over BC. So, yung mga sinusulat kong mga letters na yan, i-refer nyo lang po yung nasa illustration natin na triangle na nasa left para maging guided kayo. Kung ano nga ba yung opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent, and kung paano dinedetermine yung mga trigonometric ratios. Next, yung last natin is yung cotangent. So, cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So, COT siya, cot. So, yung tangent natin is equivalent to opposite over adjacent. That is why yung cotangent, adjacent over opposite naman siya. Okay. That is BC over AC. Ayan siya. And then, yung sin theta natin, so sulat ko na lang dito. Reciprocal niya nga is yung cosecant theta. So, pwede nating isulat yung sin theta as 1 over cosecant theta. Or in the same manner, pwede rin naman nating isulat yung cosecant theta as 1 over sin theta. So, ayan po. Para mapakita yung kanilang pagkaka-reciprocal. Okay. So, ganun din po dun sa cosine. Tsaka tangent. So, ayan. Yung sinabi ko kanina, yung ating mnemonic na kadalasan ginagamit natin sa trigonometry, na kadalasang naririnig. So, i-ano natin siya, i-discuss natin yung SOHCAHTOA. So, dito muna tayo sa SO. Okay, SO. So, ibig sabihin ng SO is sine. Sine is equivalent to opposite over hypotenuse. Kaya, SOH. Okay. Next, yung K naman, yun po yung nasa cosine. So, cosine that is adjacent over hypotenuse. So, kinukuha po natin dyan yung first letter ng word. Okay, so kaya ka. And then naman, kapag tangent, that is TOA, o kaya makikita nyo, opposite over adjacent. So, paano naman ang mnemonic kung reciprocal? Yung cosecant, secant, taka cotangent. So, kapag cosecant tayo, hindi siya so. Magiging cho siya, cho. Yan. Cosecant is equal to hypotenuse over opposite. Next, kapag naman secant, that is hypotenuse over adjacent. So, imbis na ka, magiging siya. And then, kapag cotangent naman, that is adjacent over hypotenuse, magiging cow. Okay, so kaya, meron tayong dalawang mnemonics dyan, yung SOHCAHTOA, tsaka CHO-SHA-COW. Okay, so I hope naging clear sa inyo yung ating mnemonic na SOHCAHTOA, tsaka yung CHO-SHA-COW. So, using the right triangle PQR, determine the 6 trigonometric ratios of the acute angles P and R. Okay, so dito, dalawa yung acute angles natin para mas mapakita ko sa inyo yung theta. Okay, so para hindi kayo nalilito sa pag-determine ng opposite side, adjacent side, syempre sa hypotenuse, hindi naman kayo malilito. Kasi hindi naman yan nalilipat ng posisyon. Okay, kasi yung opposite natin tsaka adjacent side, nakabase po yan kung nasaan yung theta. Okay, so yung example natin, triangle PQR. So, yung theta natin is nasa angle P. Okay. So, ibig sabihin, kung nasa angle P yung theta natin, yung opposite side nun is QR. So, itong 5 na nakamark na yan, ito po yan, yung ating opposite side. So, OPP. Next, nasaan ang ating hypotenuse? Siyempre, yung longest side, HYP. So, kung meron na tayong opposite, tsaka hypotenuse, ano ang nawawala? That is adjacent. Okay, ito po yung ating adjacent side. So, since nakalagay naman, nasan yung hypotenuse, adjacent, and opposite, madali na lang natin malalaman yung ratio, yung sine P. So, kapag sinod natin yung sine P, ayan. So, madali na lang po yan. So, sine P, that is opposite over hypotenuse. So, yung opposite side natin, ang sukat niya is 5. Yung hypotenuse naman natin is 13. That is why sine P is equal to 5 over 13. And then, yung reciprocal ng sine P is cosecant P, diba? So, that is hypotenuse over opposite. So, ibig sabihin, yung 5 over 13, babalik na rin lang natin, magiging 13 over 5. Next, cosine P naman, that is adjacent over hypotenuse. So, yung adjacent side natin measures 12. Next, over hypotenuse, which is 13. So, what is the reciprocal of cosine P? That is secant P. So, ibig sabihin, 12 over 13 will become 13 over 12. And then, yung tangent naman, that is equivalent to opposite over adjacent. So, yung opposite natin, again, is 5. And then, yung adjacent side natin is 12. Yung reciprocal ng tangent P is cotangent P. So, yung 5 over 12 sa tangent, magiging 12 over 5. So, yan po yung trigonometric ratios natin ng angle P. So, iba po yan sa angle R. So, angle R naman tayo. As you can see, yung theta natin nasa angle R. Okay, so ibig sabihin, yung opposite side ng angle R na yan is PQ. So, ito po ngayon ang magiging opposite side. So, dun sa previous example natin, yung side na yan, yun po ang ating adjacent side. It's because yung ating angle is nasa yung theta natin is nasa angle P. Next, yung hypotenuse natin, ganun pa rin. And then, yung ating adjacent side is nalipat. Nandito po sa malapit sa theta, sa angle R. So, adjacent. So, next, ganun pa rin naman ang gagawin natin. So, since na-determine na natin yung hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent sides, mabilis na lang pong makukuha yung ating trigonometric ratios. So, sine r, so opposite over hypotenuse, so opposite side measures 12, and then yung hypotenuse natin is 13. So, reciprocal ng sine is cosecant. Okay? So, that will become 13 over 12. Next, cosine r, that is adjacent over hypotenuse. So, adjacent is 5, then hypotenuse is 13. And then, the reciprocal of cosine is secant. So, 5 over 13 will become 13 over 5. Finally, tangent r, that is equivalent to opposite over adjacent. So, opposite is 12, and then adjacent is 5. So, tangent r is equal to 12 over 5. What about its reciprocal, which is cotangent r? So, 12 over 5 will become 5 over 12. So, there you go. Yun po yung trigonometric ratios using angle r, acute angle r. So, let us have another problem. So, dito naman, given yung isang value ng isang trigonometric ratio. So, and then we will be determining the other trigonometric ratios. So, is it possible for us to determine the other trigonometric ratios given one trigonometric ratios? The answer is yes. We'll just simply use Pythagorean theorem. So, let us have the illustration. So, ayan. Illustrate muna natin yung sides ng triangle. So, as you can see, nandyan yung ating theta. So, opposite theta is our opposite side, of course. And then, hypotenuse, ayan, the longest side, and then the adjacent side, ayan siya, which is the unknown. So, through Pythagorean theorem, makukuha natin yung value ng adjacent side. So, by the way, Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So, anong meron dyan? So, the sum of the squares of two legs is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. So, A and B po dyan, yun po ang nagsisilbing legs ng right triangle. So, legs, yun po yung longer leg tsaka shorter leg. And then, C naman is the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of any right triangle. So, reminder lang po, kapag hypotenuse, present lang po yan kapag right triangle. So, hindi natin makikita ang hypotenuse kung hindi naman siya right triangle. Okay. So, identify natin yung sine theta equals 5 over 6. So, di ba yung sine theta, that is opposite over hypotenuse. So, sulat natin dito O over H. So, ayan, ibig sabihin, yung opposite side natin ang magsisilbing A. So, which is 5. And then, yung unknown natin is yung adjacent side, B squared, equals yung C squared natin, yung hypotenuse, that is 6. Ayan. So, 5 squared, that is 25, plus B squared is equal to 6 squared, 36. And then, subtracting 25 to both sides, so magiging B squared is equal to 36 minus 25. 36 minus 25 is 11. Is this the final answer? No, we need to extract both sides para mawala yung square. So, square root of B squared, that is B. Square root of 11. It's not a perfect square. So, we'll leave it that way na lang. B is equal to square root of 11. This is the measure of the adjacent side. Now, we will determine the other trigonometric ratios. Kasi meron na tayong tatlong sides naman. Yung sukat ng tatlong sides. So, yung reciprocal ng ating sine theta is cosecant theta, di ba? So, yung cosecant theta natin is h over o. Hypotenuse over opposite. So, hypotenuse is 6. And then, yung opposite natin is 5. So, ayan. 5 over 6, 6 over 5. Next, for cosine theta naman, that is adjacent over hypotenuse. So, adjacent is square root of 11. And then, over hypotenuse, which is 6. And then, secant theta, syempre, reciprocal niya, that is hypotenuse over adjacent. So, hypotenuse is 6 over adjacent, which is square root of 11. So, dun sa lesson natin on radicals, so, kapag yung ating denominator is a radical, naka-express in radical, kailangan po natin niyang tanggalin. So, through rationalization. So, paano ang rationalization? So, i-multiply natin to both numerator and denominator, yung square root of 11. Para matanggal yung radical sa denominator. So, okay lang na magkaroon ng radical sa numerator, pero sa denominator, hindi. Next, 6 times square root of 11, that is 6 square root of 11 over square root of 11 times square root of 11 is 120, square root of 121. So, kapag in-extract natin yung square root of 121, that is 11 kasi perfect square siya. So, ibig sabihin, ayan, secant theta is equal to 6 square root of 11 over 11. So, hindi na po natin yan pwedeng i-simplify pa dahil wala namang common factor aside from 1. Okay, so, box lang natin yung mga sagot natin. Ayan. Okay, next. Last, tangent. So, tangent theta naman tayo. So, dito naman, that is opposite over adjacent. So, opposite natin is 5. And then, adjacent natin is square root of 11. So, ganun din ang gagawin natin kagaya dun sa secant theta. So, multiply natin square root of 11 to both numerator and denominator. And this will become 5 square root of 11 over 11. Finally, we have cotangent theta that is equal to adjacent over opposite. That is square root of 11 over 5. So, ayan. That will be our final answer. So, yun po yung ating 6 trigonometric ratios. So, for our last example, so if tangent theta is equal to 8 over 15, then find the remaining trigonometric ratios. So, dito naman, yung trigonometric ratio na given is tangent theta. Okay, so tangent. So, tangent is tangent theta, that is opposite over adjacent. Okay, so yung opposite side natin measures 8, and then yung adjacent naman is 15. Okay, so dito, ang hinahanap natin is yung hypotenuse, yung sukat ng longest side natin. Okay, so expect natin kapag hypotenuse, syempre kaya nga longest side siya, mas mataas ang value niya dun sa dalawang legs. So again, using Pythagorean theorem, so that is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Okay. So, dati, ang ano natin dito, opposite natin is 8. And then, yung adjacent natin, yung b, is yung magiging 15. And then, yung unknown natin, yung hypotenuse, c squared. So, 8 times 8 or 8 squared, that is 64, plus 15 squared, 225, equals c squared. And then, i-add lang natin, so 64 plus 225, that is 289. And then, extract both sides. Okay, so c squared, Square root of c squared, that is c. And then 289 is a perfect square. So square root of 289 is 17. So we want to verify, you just multiply 17 by itself. So 17 times 17, you'll get a product of 289. So the value of the measure of the hypotenuse is 17. Ayan. So pwede na po nating malaman yung mga remaining trigonometric ratios. So dito muna tayo sa tangent theta. Yung kanyang reciprocal is cotangent, di ba? So cotangent theta, that is adjacent over opposite. So adjacent is 15 and then opposite is 8. So 8 over 15 tsaka 15 over 8. Next, let's have sine theta. That is opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite is 8 and then the hypotenuse is 17. So sine theta is equal to 8 over 17. And then cosecant theta, that is hypotenuse over opposite. So hypotenuse is 17 and then the opposite side is 18. So cosecant theta is equal to 17 over 8. And then last one is cosine theta. So cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent side measures 15, then the hypotenuse is 17. Therefore, cosine theta is equal to 15 over 17. And then last one, we have secant theta. So secant theta, hypotenuse over adjacent. So maganda na sinusulat natin yung mga ganyan para at least guided tayo. Mga adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over hypotenuse, yung mga ganyan. So hypotenuse is 17, then adjacent side is 15. So therefore, secant theta is equal to 17 over 15. So there you go. We have identified the 6 trigonometric ratios. So after this video lesson, our next topic has something to do with solving the missing parts of a right triangle. Okay, so dyan po, i-discuss ko rin po yung paggamit ng scientific calculator. So, scientific calculator is different from an ordinary calculator. Siyempre, yung ordinary calculator po, yan ang kadalasang ginagamit ng mga tindera sa palengke. Okay, so, kapag scientific calculator is more on advanced kasi siya. May mga functions na, siyempre, wala po dun sa ordinary calculator. And then, meron kasing mga trigonometric ratios talaga na hindi natin pwedeng isolve manually. So, although meron tayong mga special angles na kahit walang calculator ay makukuha natin ang sukat. Okay. So, yun po. Sana may natutunan kayo sa ating video lesson. So, that will be all. So, thank you for watching.